Hey guys, it's another late night tonight, but thanks for coming back for another video. I'm Crypticink and this is my drawing for day 10 of this month's Inktober challenge. My theme today was ghost, which I decided to interpret as a galactic kind of space ghost cat with a skull in front of it. I don't know exactly where I was going with the idea, and maybe it doesn't make a ton of sense, but that's the first image that came to mind, and like most things, I decided to just run with it. Those were my thumbnails that you saw at the beginning of the video to give you an idea of what my sketches look like before I start drawing. I like to keep my thumbnails simple, as thumbnails usually are. It's just a really rough doodle of a concept or composition, so I'll have an idea of what I want things to look like when I put the pencil to the paper. So, I received a question on my previous video about art school, and I promise I'll get to that topic in tomorrow's video because I do have a lot to say about that. But today I wanted to talk about mistakes. You know, in working with ink, it's a permanent medium. You can't erase or easily lift the ink off the paper once you've laid a line down. Seeing as this month's challenge is all about ink and the processes that come with the medium, I wanted to talk about how it feels to worry about mistakes when inking and how it feels when you actually do make a mistake while you're drawing with ink. I'm sure many of us have experienced the dread that comes right before you start inking over top of a sketch that you really like. There are a couple ways to get around this, of course. You could ink digitally or use a light box and ink tracing on a new sheet of paper. But when you're inking directly on the same page as a sketch, one thought usually crosses most people's minds, and that is, God, I hope I don't mess this up. And that can be nerve-wracking, just to think after spending so much time liking a sketch, you could possibly put down a line that wasn't meant to be there or that throws off the whole flow of the piece. Even when you're careful, sometimes you lose that magic that a sketch just has, and then you risk having to draw it all over again. And these are the thoughts that go through my mind right before I start inking a sketch that I really like. All those worries and all that nervousness, I have to really push it out of my mind even before I put the pen on the paper, because I know if anything messes with my confidence too much while drawing, it's gonna show in my line work. So imagine how I felt when this happened. It was a total accident. I guess I flicked my pen a little too hard and a dark blob of ink was planted right in the middle of what was going to be a nice, clear, white space on the drawing. Of all the spaces this little black dot could have landed, it landed right there. And I was pretty upset about it, but I knew that I had a couple choices to make. I could, of course, wipe it up, but then it would have smeared and made the whole thing look worse, in my opinion. I could have gone over it with a white gel pen or maybe even some white gouache. You wouldn't have been able to see it at all if I had just done some tweaking in Photoshop afterwards, but it would still be there in the original. So instead of doing all that, which would all have been perfectly fine solutions to the same problem, I decided to take another route. And I remember while drawing thinking, well, if it's there already, I might as well get a little experimental with the rest of the drawing. I decided to just go with it and see if I could make it look like that black dot was supposed to be there. So at the end of the drawing, I decided to play with stippling and to also just splash some wet ink on the paper with a brush I don't use too often. My hands got messy and I got ink splatters everywhere, but it was fun. It was nice to just let go. And instead of being mad about it, I think I came up with something slightly more interesting than what I had intended to do in the first place. Let's face it, accidents are bound to happen at some point, but no matter what you do about it, whether you cover it up or edit it out or make it look like you did the thing on purpose, It's important not to let your mistakes get the better of you, and you can even scrap the whole thing and start over. The second sketch of the same thing might even be better than the first version. I'm just saying that it's easy to get mad about little or even big art mistakes, especially with ink. And I'm not gonna start getting all loosey-goosey with my lines and stop caring or anything, but if I learned anything from my little mistake today, it was that I can always try to make it better. And if that doesn't work, I can just do it over again. But I won't let it keep me mad at the process. And maybe I also learned that it's good to keep sketches a little loose if you're planning on doing more detail when inking over it. That might work better for me. So yeah, doing today's ink drawing was an interesting process. We are 10 days in, you guys, and I hope we are all still going strong. So here is the final drawing. Before I go, here are some more featured artists for today. You guys are churning out some great work. Links to today's featured artists will be featured in the description down below, so check them out if you get a chance. That's it for today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed the talk and are having fun participating in the challenge. I will see you again tomorrow. Until then, happy drawing. Bye.